I'm very excited to be able to come to Arena Mexico for CMLL. I was supposed to come a couple of years ago and unfortunately had to miss due to injury. And obviously I was there this year with AEW for our episode of Dynamite, but I'm really excited to be there for CMLL. Obviously, never been to Arena Coliseo, so very excited for that as well. And I think we're going to have 2 great matches this weekend. Obviously, it's a very big challenge. I'm really excited to see and experience all the fans in Mexico. It was really incredible last time we were there with AEW. So I'm really excited to, see it in just a CMLL event where it's, more pure and more, more true to what CMLL is. So I'm very excited for the fans. I think that, we've been getting a lot of hate from the fans in America. So I'm sure that the fans will be incredibly rowdy in Mexico. I'm very excited about that. But yeah, as for Los Hermanos Chavez, like you said, they've been on quite a run. So there'll be quite a daunting challenge to try to topple on their home turf, but I think that me and Garcia are up for the challenge, and I'm really excited to see how the match plays out. Yeah, I think that Lucha Libre and Arena Mexico itself just being such a special historic arena, I think it's awesome that it really feels like, at least from an American's perspective, that CMLL has really been able to branch out this past year and these past couple of years and bring authentic Lucha Libre to the rest of the world. So it's been really exciting to see the growth and see a lot of the CMLL guys in our locker room at AEW. So it's been really incredible, and I think that it'll just continue to grow. And obviously CMLL has such a rich tradition, and Lucha Libre in general has such a rich tradition, that I'm very happy that me, Garcia, and Claudio can all be a part of it this weekend. It's incredibly important to me, and I really hope that this weekend I can make a strong impression and that myself and Garcia can put up a good showing for ourselves. As someone who, began wrestling in America and has primarily wrestled in America, part of my goal, when I was starting, was to travel around and get to wrestle in different places. And I think 2 of the biggest ones were Japan and Mexico. So having already been able to go wrestle for New Japan was just a dream come true, and this will be very similar going to CMLL. And I think, being able to, test ourselves against such an esteemed tag team is also incredibly important. We talk a lot in AEW and the Death Riders about raising the standard in our own company. And if we're gonna preach that, then we have to go and test ourselves against some of the best wrestlers in the world. And what better tag team to test ourselves against? So I'm incredibly happy that we get to do it, but I am also determined to make sure that we put in a good showing. That's a very tough question. I'm not sure if it's very tough to compare across company lines and how different people always come up in different scenarios. So I guess I don't know if he could necessarily be doing more. But one person from the CMLL roster that I really like is Titan. I always thought he was absolutely incredible, and we wrestled in Japan, actually, in the Best of the Super Juniors tournament. And I think he's got a little bit more of an aggressive side that he could bring out if he wanted to. So I guess in that comparison, it could be Titan, but also I think he's doing incredible as he is now. So, but that's what I would shout out. Yeah, there's a lot of great ones that you mentioned. When I was working with Bryan Danielson before we betrayed him, he was having me watch a lot of Blue Panther. I think he was awesome. I also really like watching Virus, so I watched a lot of old Virus matches and stuff. So there's so many to name. Obviously Ultimo Guerrero versus Mystico, they were just such incredible matches, so those would be great ones as well. But there's CMLL has such a great tradition that there's so many to name. It's really difficult. I think that Garcia and I have an aggressiveness, a mean streak that I think is something that we can really tap into. And I think it's something that we'll be able to feed off of with all of the energy in the building. With Arena Mexico being such a loud and intense crowd, I think that really feeds into our intensity, and I think that we'll be able to do that. Garcia and I we've known each other for a long time on the independents, but it was usually as opponents. So we're relatively new as a tag team now that we're both in the Death Riders. And obviously when you're facing such a storied tag team of brothers like Los Hermanos Chavez, they're going to have such chemistry and many double team attacks and things like that we're going to have to combat. But I think it's really just going to come down to our heart and our intensity and our mean streak. So that's really what I'm going to try to amplify this week. As of right now, with the addition of Garcia, honestly, I think we might we might be stopping the expansion. We might have enough for right now. Let me think who would be. Obviously, one person. He's now in AEW as well, so he probably would not want to switch lines. But we're all huge fans of Hechicero. We think that perhaps if Hechicero had not joined the Don Callis family, he would be finding a home at the Death Riders. He's just such a incredible technical wrestler, and he also can turn on that aggression and turn on that mean streak when necessary. So I would say if Hechicero had not already joined the Don Callis family, he would probably be a Death Rider at some point. I can't speak of the AEW roster, but I know that amongst the Death Riders, our main goal is to prove ourselves around the world. And I think that there's no better way to do that than to challenge for these world championships. So I know that it's certainly a goal of ours to come back with gold, myself, Garcia, and Claudio. But I can't speak for the rest of AEW, but I know that that's something that the Death Riders are very interested in. So to all the Mexican fans, we hope that you're ready and excited for our brand of violence that we'll bring to Arena Mexico and to Arena Coliseo. We have been setting out to raise the standard in AEW, and now we want to test ourselves against the best wrestlers in Mexico, and we can't wait to see you there. This is Wheeler Yuta of the Death Riders, and myself, Daniel Garcia, and Claudio Castagnoli will be coming to Arena Mexico and Arena Coliseo this weekend. We're so excited to see all the fans in Mexico and bring our brand of violence to CMLL.